Downright ugly. The Philadelphia Eagles went from being 10-1 to losing their last 5 out of 6 games. And I've been saying this for the last couple weeks and the last couple months. This is a football team that was headed into the wrong direction with their offensive play calling and their defensive play calling as well. No matter if it's Matt Patricia or the defensive coordinator before him, they're no Jonathan Gannon. And Nick Sirianni got carried by Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, and he got carried by the defensive coordinator last season, Jonathan Gannon. That's why they made the Super Bowl last year. He's not a true head coach in the NFL, and he was posing as one. And Jalen Hurts, I'm going to get on him in just a second. But this defense, they couldn't cover anyone. For you to go to Tampa Bay and to lose this game the way that you did, they had Chris Godwin on that last play. Avonte Maddox made him look like Randy Moss fused with Jerry Rice. That is how bad Avonte Maddox looked. And Chris Godwin is a very good wide receiver, but he was not going off early in the game like that. You had guys like Cade Otton giving you work early on, and you couldn't tackle guys. They couldn't stop the run early on, and play action got them. They made Baker Mayfield look like Tom Brady. He was 22 of 36 for 337 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. He did get sacked 4 times. But this is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense that just scored 9 points the week before against the Carolina Panthers, which is a top defense in the NFL. But you have Cade Otton looking like he's the next coming of Rob Gronkowski. He had 8 catches for 89 yards, killing you early in the game. Then you also have Moore. David Moore is in the game. Hits 1 touchdown and he got one for 44 yards because you couldn't tackle. James Bradbury can't tackle and he cannot cover at all. He doesn't deserve to be with this team. He's robbing the Philadelphia Eagles of money and he should be locked up because of it. He's been downright terrible this year and they have used him in different type of ways as a zone corner, as a man up corner. He is terrible. Darius Slay hasn't been able to stay healthy the last couple weeks. He went down in this game. But Avonte Maddox, he's worse as well. He is terrible. You have a bunch of guys on the defensive side of the ball that can't play football. They're horrible. And that quote unquote ferocious front 7 was not hitting today. And it wasn't hitting on the back half of the season. The Eagles got completely exposed and they are a massive failure. Yes, you have seen teams that go out there, they don't win the Super Bowl and it seems like it's a Super Bowl hangover period. But this team went 10-1 in their first 11 games. And they were in the driver's seat for the NFC East, and they lose out on that spot to the Dallas Cowboys. This could have been a different situation if they would just win a couple more games. But when they lost against the New York Jets, that showed everything about the Philadelphia Eagles, that Jalen Hurts can't handle the blitz, and he's not a true passer of the football. And I understand no A.J. Brown in this game. That's a huge hit. But Jalen Hurts hasn't looked particularly well on the back half of this season. Last season, he didn't have that many interceptions. This season, he has had a lot, and the touchdown numbers did not respond to him going out there and getting the contract extension that he got this offseason. Jalen Hurts has 23 passing touchdowns to 15 interceptions this season. The offensive coordinator has done a terrible job with putting him in the best situations this season. Compared to last season, he had 22 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And he was in that MVP conversation with Patrick Mahomes. He's been downright terrible in the back half of the season as well. And this game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it wasn't all on him because the defense couldn't tackle, but you need to put up more than 9 points. When they went for that 2-point conversion and the tush push couldn't put them over the edge, that showed me everything about the Eagles at this point in time, that it was done for, that it was over with. They are a football team that is meant to run the ball, and they have been able to run the ball consistently this season. Yes, DeAndre Swift has over 1,000 yards rushing, but it's not the same volume like how it was last season when you were able to run Jalen Hurts, when you were able to run Miles Sanders at the time. And on the back half of the season, Miles Sanders wasn't the same running back, but he did a lot of good for this team last season. And it was because of the offensive play calling with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen is a quarterback guru. No matter who the quarterback that he works with, they always look good. I hope the Philadelphia Eagles are not in a Carson Wentz situation in terms you pay this quarterback a lot of money and he can't put you over the top. They paid Jalen Hurts like he's a top 5 quarterback. He didn't play like a top 5 quarterback this season. And I understand it's not all on him because the offensive play calling was horrible this season. And it was horrible in this game. When it is 2nd and 10, stop calling quarterback draws and back-to-back drives and just run the football with DeAndre Swift or just get someone going downhill. Call some screenplays to Devontae Smith and get things going. But they couldn't do that. It seems like this may be Jason Kelsey's last game with this team. I hope that's not the case. If it is, he's one of the best offensive linemen to ever play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I look at the rest of his offensive line as well. Lane Johnson is a question mark moving forward. But it was no reason for the Philadelphia Eagles to have the talent that they have, with guys like Brandon Graham, who may be on the way out as well, the same with Fletcher Cox, but for you to have guys like Hassan Reddick to go out there and not be able to put a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield without blitzing, that's terrible. They went out and they traded for Kevin Byard, who had a great game against the Kansas City Chiefs months ago. But that was the last time that we saw a huge impact on the game from him. You got Shaq Leonard when the Indianapolis Colts cut him because you need linebacking depth because your linebackers were hurt. He wasn't able to make a huge impact because he's not the same linebacker with this team. This is a team that fell from grace early on in the season when they lost against the New York Jets because Jalen Hurts is now on the same level of throwing the football with guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. And I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback because he's a very good dual threat, but he has to advance his levels in passing if he wants to take this team to the next level. For them to pay him the money that they paid him this offseason, he should have been one of the best quarterbacks this season. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And it's not all on Jalen Hurts, but he needs to be better moving forward. And I understand a lot of games this season he was playing with a knee brace on his knee that came down from dumb play calling when you run him 10 to 15 times in the game, running the same quarterback draw play over and over again. There was no reason for this team to be in this situation. I knew that they had problems when they were in a close game with the New York Giants a couple of weeks ago. And then you look at what they did against the New York Giants the second time they faced them. They completely blew them out of water before halftime. And now you have a Jalen Hurts who's dealing with an injured finger on his throwing hand. No A.J. Brown. With terrible offensive play calling. That's a recipe for disaster. This team was a massive disappointment this season and a massive failure. The biggest disappointed team in the NFL because you just went to the Super Bowl and you had a 10-1 record a couple months ago. And for you to fall down like this right here, it was just downright terrible. And that touchdown with Trey Palmer, James Bradbury has to go. I don't care what the cap hit is. You don't even just trade him. Just cut him because he's downright terrible. But let me know in the comment section below how you feel about the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward and what should they do. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, win each and every last win, guys. Stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.